Greetings, welcome to BBC News Now. 3 hours of fast-moving news, interviews and reaction. Let's take you straight to Iran, where the funeral is underway for the country's late president, Ebrahim Raisi. We've been watching live pictures all morning from Mashhad, Mr. Raisi's home city, and where he is being buried. There are huge crowds, as you can see, and they've been following the funeral procession throughout the day. There are giant photographs of the late president along with black flags, and there's quite a lot of religious symbolism there as well. Those are lining the streets, those flags, the people, as you can see there. To remind you, 7 other people died in the crash in Iran's mountainous northwest. The body of Mr. Raisi's foreign minister, Hossein Amir Abdullahian, is also being laid to rest. There are foreign dignitaries there from about 40 countries joining the thousands of mourners who paid their respects during ceremonies held in Tehran on Wednesday. Let's bring you Rana Rahimpour, Iran analyst, who joins us now as we watch these pictures live, Rana, and see the many thousands of people who are out on the streets. Tell us who is in the crowds, who has shown up to mourn.
Lucy, obviously those who are participating in the mourning processions are the supporters of the Islamic Republic, and the numbers are quite significant given that President Raisi in 2021's election gained about 18 million votes. But it doesn't mean that he was a popular character. The election in which he became the president had the lowest turnout of the history of the Islamic Republic, in which he only got 30% of those votes. And unfortunately, because of the protests in 2022, which was violently cracked down by the regime, his popularity even fell further. So the numbers might seem significant, but we're talking about a country of over 85 million people. And yes, there are people who are out on the streets, but they definitely are not showing a full picture of the Iranian nation. I know many Iranians are also happy about what has happened, and they have been celebrating what has happened to President Raisi.
I see, Rana, that people were given free transportation to attend from around the country. And as we watch the coffin being carried on people's shoulders, the chant that you also do hear coming from the crowds is "Death to America." Now, that is to be expected, isn't it? That has been the narrative that you do hear at things like this.
Totally, because President Raisi came from the ultra-radical right-wing faction of the Iranian politics, and that is the faction that is now present at his funeral. But again, this is not everything that we hear. We see a lot of debate on Iranian Persian-speaking social media, where the supporters of the regime say, "Look at these footage, look how popular he was." But then opponents of the Islamic Republic say, are we allowed to be on the streets? Are we not going to be shot at? If you're not scared of your popularity, if you're confident that you are a strong regime, why aren't we allowed to have a referendum or even participate in the anti-government protests inside the country without being shot at, without being ending up in prison? So it's a very volatile time for the Islamic Republic, and especially in coming weeks, and the upcoming early presidential election is going to be very tense for the regime.
Rana, Iranian state media has made much of the dignitaries who are also attending from other countries, 40 countries they say, but who is there of significance?
It's interesting because I was having a look at who's there in terms of the presidents and prime ministers. So there's the Emir of Qatar, presidents of Tajikistan and Tunisia, prime ministers of Armenia, Azerbaijan, Iraq, Georgia, Pakistan, and Syria. Those are the only high-ranking officials who have taken part in the mourning ceremony. And there are no European or Western politicians who are there at a high level. Even if anybody has attended, they are at lower levels. But it doesn't mean that Iran is not using this as a moment to show its place in regional conflicts and the proxy wars. This morning there has been a meeting amongst the groups that are called the resistance groups. Many of them are Palestinian groups. One of the most significant people that we saw during the ceremony yesterday was Ismail Haniyeh, the political leader of Hamas, who is based in Qatar. And this was only 2 days after ICC, International Criminal Court, said that they are seeking an arrest warrant for Mr. Haniyeh. So for him to fly to Tehran to attend the ceremony and to then meet with the supreme leader of Iran is a show of strength. Iran and its allies are sending a message to the West that they are together and their ties are very strong.
Rana, thank you so much. Iran analyst Rana Rahmanpour joining us there, and we'll continue